Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. So welcome to our weekly session on Saturday. Today, as we decided last time, we will talk about who am I? Uh, this is a topic which is very fascinating and not too difficult to understand. So let's move slowly, point by point. First, let us talk about subject and object. When we talk about something like we talk about a house, you say it is my house. So the house is the object and you are the subject. And you say this is my car. So the car becomes the object and you are the subject. So the difference between subject and object, the object is a different entity and subject is a different entity. And normally, when we talk like this, we use possessive pronoun to indicate the object. Like we say, my house, that is a possessive pronoun, that house belongs to me. In Hindi, we call it sambandh karak. Similarly, my car, my purse, my friend. So, all these my, when we use my, that denotes possessive pronoun and that indicates that you are referring to an object which is not you but somebody else or something else. So this is very clear. So you are not that object. The object is separate from you. Whenever you talk in any language in the world, uh, you can talk, you will always find the same sort of, grammatical expression. Now, who am I is a question where we will try to, what we say, go step by step in the direction to discover who am I. So let us talk about ourselves. Normally, we think that we are the body. When we introduce ourselves, we talk about the post we hold or we talk about our body. eh? And reference is normally to the body. So let's talk about the body. When I say, what is this? Then I will say, this is my hand. I'm using a possessive pronoun again as I use it for my house. So it means I am different from my hand. When I say my eyes, so I am different from my eyes. Eyes are the object here. I say my face, so I'm different from my face. I'm not the face. The face is separate entity. I'm a separate entity. And when you talk about the whole body, what do we say? My body. We don't say me, my body. So the body is not me. This becomes very clear from this vocabulary and from this grammar. And this grammar is everywhere in the world. We even say that my mind. So mind is not me. We say my intellect. Intellect is not me. So we are differentiating every part of the body as an object. It's not me, it's different from me. And this is something which we will slowly move forward. Now, in Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 3, verse number 42, Lord Krishna tries to say the same thing in a different context. When Arjuna asked him that mind is very volatile, so how do you control it? So he says that you can control the mind. And then he explains In this verse, he says, Indriyani paranyu indriyabhya param mana mansattu para buddhir yo buddhe parasetu. That he gives a sequence how the body operates. And we will go into that sequence now. But before we go into that sequence, let us understand one more important point. Though body is separate from us, but our consciousness is integrated with the body. That is why we call it Jeev. The Jeev is that existence which is alive and which keeps everything around it alive. Now, this Jeev keeps our body alive. So body is alive. So body is integrated with Jeev. So in a way it is separate, but it is also integrated in a different way. Now, that is why it is important to understand what is this body. And it is important to understand the meaning of that verse which Lord Krishna has explained. A similar verse appears in Mundak Upanishad also. Now, let's go into the details of that verse. Now, what is the grossest part? Gross, gross is the body. Body is the large body. But this is the most magnificent instrument ever made in this universe. There's no instrument, despite all the innovations and scientific developments, which can compare to human body. Now, if we look at human body, look at the normal functioning of body. It is said, and scientists will tell you, that the blood circulates approximately 100,000 kilometers every day in our body. 100,000 kilometers. It's not a small distance, it's a very long distance. There are at least 3 trillion cells in the body. 3 trillion cells, at least. Scientists are differing on this, but they are saying there could be much more, but at least 3 trillion cells. Imagine 3 trillion cells, a population of 3 trillion inside our body is living. Each cell is alive. It's like a population. And that is why we call it Puri. Ye no dwaron wale Puri. That is the reference given. Because it has such a large population inside. So 3 trillion cells minimum. Out of them, at least 4 billion cells in the brain alone. So these are some of the mind-boggling facts. Now look at the liver. The liver produces a large variety of chemicals to digest the food we eat. Now scientists are writing and confirming that you cannot construct all the functions which are performed by liver even in the physical world. Even if you take a 5 square kilometer of land and put many chemical factories, they will not be able to produce all the chemicals which our liver, that is small little liver, produces in our body. So look at the fascinating functioning of the body. Look at the food we eat. We eat rice, we eat chapati, we eat dal, we eat vegetables. Some people eat non-vegetarian food. In different parts of the world, you eat different things. But ultimately, all that food converts into what? Into blood, into flesh, into bones, into skin. So, in these what we call in the joints, we have certain specific elements. So all those are originating from the food we eat. We eat different variety of food, but all that gets converted into those six elements which are described in Ayurveda. And not only that, from this body, we eat inanimate food. When it goes into the body, it becomes body part and it becomes animate. And from this animate body, we get these hair which are inanimate. You can cut them, nothing happens. We get these nails which are inanimate. So the animate body is giving rise to inanimate things. Similarly, inanimate things which we eat are getting converted into animate body. It's a miracle. No machinery in the world can do that. So far, nothing can be conceived like that in this world. So, what I was talking about is the first layer, the body. It has many miracles inside. We have just discussed a few examples to understand it. Even for example, we eat food, we do nothing, it gets digested. What is happening inside? There must be something in the intestines which make it happen. Otherwise, you put the food anywhere else in the world, it will not get digested. It will not get converted into blood and flesh and bones and all that. So there are many, many miracles in the body. The body is a miraculous machinery, and most miraculous machinery that exists in this universe. That is the first part. But body is gross. It's a big, huge body. And this is the weakest element of our human constitution. I call it human constitution because it differentiates body and human constitution. It is the weakest. I am underlining that weakest. Though it is such a miraculous body, it is the weakest. This body is actually controlled by sense organs. For example, we have five sense organs. We see with our eyes, smell with our nose, hear with our ears, taste with our tongue, touch with our skin. Now imagine somebody cannot see, cannot hear, cannot talk. What is the state of that person? This happens to many people in the old age. So their body becomes like a vegetable. So that the huge big body is actually controlled and regulated by the five senses of action and five senses of perception. Though the body is very big, but without sense organs, it is not important, it is not useful, it is not giving you the kind of knowledge and perception which you normally require and which you acquire with the sense organs. So these small sense organs are far more powerful than this big body. So imagine the power of senses. Without those sense organs, we will be completely paralyzed. Then sense organs are also not that powerful. Beyond that sense organs is the mind, which mind becomes it's practically invisible. It's become suksham and suksham. The body is gross, sense organs are suksham, mind is even more suksham. It cannot be seen, it cannot be grasped, it cannot be heard. No scientist can tell you where the mind is. It is impossible to find out. Though it is still physical. In the Vedic parlance, mind is physical. But physical has become so small that you cannot grasp it. But mind is the one which controls all our sense organs. Like you are listening to me now. If your mind is somewhere else, your ears will not listen to me. Sometimes we sit in front of a TV screen, we sit down for half an hour there, and we don't know what happened because our mind was somewhere else. It was in office or it was with children, it was in shopping center, where else? And therefore, we didn't know what happened on the screen. Similarly, we go through a book sometimes, we read 5, 6, 7 pages and we don't know what was written there because mind was somewhere else. So the mind is the controller of all the senses. That is why it is often called either sixth sense or the 11th sense. And it must unite with the particular sense to make it work. If you want to listen to something, then your mind should be united with your ears. If you want to see something, your mind should be united with your eyes. Exactly the same way, the mind should be united with each of the sense organs to perform the function of that sense organ. So the mind is the controller of sense organs. That is what in that verse has been said. Now, mind is the third layer. The first layer was the body, the second layer was sense organs, third is the mind. Then there is a layer higher than that. That is called intellectual or buddhi. Now, you see, buddhi is even smaller than mind in terms of suksham. I would use the word suksham because that gives a very clear, meaning in terms of understanding. So buddhi is suksham than mind. Mind you can still feel. When you think, you can feel that this is my mind. I'm, realizing it. I'm thinking about this, that. But buddhi you cannot feel at all. But when we have dilemma in the mind, when we want to understand certain things better, then we take the help of buddhi. Buddhi helps you to analyze the pros and cons, good and bad, what is right, what is wrong, what is ethical, what is unethical, what is legal, what is illegal. You are driving on the road, and your mind comes into play. Okay, you don't need to cross the red light because that is wrong, that is illegal, you could be fined. So the intellect comes, the buddhi comes into play. Mind may like to tell you, okay, let's go, rush, we are in a hurry, why do you have to stop? But then the buddhi comes into play. So buddhi is the fourth layer, though it is very small, it is very suksham rather, but it is very important. Actually, human being is so powerful only because of this intellect, this power of intellect. Though this power is not visible, it is not tangible anywhere, but it is there in our system. And because of that power, the human being has been able to invent so many things. If we have an aircraft today or a missile system or a pandubi, it is all because of this intellect which we have. So the intellect is far more powerful than the mind. So this is the fourth layer. The first layer is the body, then the sense organs, then the mind, and then buddhi. Now beyond buddhi is also one more, physical organ of the body, which is called ahankar, ego. Now ahankar is extremely suksham. It is, uh, you can call it smallest of the small. You enter the office and your secretary is sitting there. She doesn't say good morning to you or namaskar to you. And your ego is hurt immediately. You become so angry. Eh? You go to a meeting where you are invited and nobody welcomes you, nobody bothers to receive you. You get upset, angry, ego. Now look at the situation in Ukraine and Russia. It's all because of the ego. There are many wars which are fought because of ego. In fact, the First World War, the Second World War, they all came out of this ego. Ego of certain individuals, if it is hurt, it can become the cause of war. So the ego is another element which we do not normally feel. It's completely, you know, remains silent and dissolved into the body system, but it is there. So these are the five layers which are physical. These physical layers, these are not non-physical, though mind, intellect, and ego, they are non-visible, non-tangible, but they are still physical in the Vedic parlance. Now, these things have also been explained by what we call kosa, Anna kos, Pranmaya kos, then you have Manomaya kos, you have Vigyanmaya kos. So these kos is another explanation in Vedic parlance to denote the similar layers. This is like, you remove the layers of an onion. Similarly, we are removing the layers of our body or human constitution. So these kosas denote more or less similar things. There may be some minor difference here and there, but basically, these five layers are constituting human constitution or human body. And all these are physical. They arise from the food we eat. They are made of the five gross elements of the nature, that is, Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, and Prithvi. These five gross elements of the nature, they go into our body either through natural process or through the food, and they constitute all these five layers which we talked about. The mind also gets from the food from there, and it becomes clear when you don't eat for 5 days, you are not able to balance your mind. Your mind is not working at all. The mind becomes absolutely non-functional. So it is very clear that the food provides energy to the mind, to intellect, and also to ego. So it supports that. So this is one analysis, that the physical part of the body is constituted in five layers. To repeat those layers, the body, which is body as a whole, which is a miraculous instrument. Then the sense organs, which are small but more powerful. Then the intellectual buddhi, intellect or intellectual power. And then ego or ahankar. So these are the constituents of human body. But these are not me. You say my ego. हम कहते हैं ना मेरा स्वाभिमान hurt हो गया. What is that swabhiman? That swabhiman is also ego. So that is also mera. That is not you. So all these are mera. All these are mine. These are not me. So beyond that, there is the Anandamaya Kosha, or there is what we call a consciousness, which actually provides sustenance to each one of these organs we talked about. The consciousness is the one which keeps our body alive, which keeps our sense organs functioning, which keeps our digestive system functioning, which keeps every function we do, the thinking power, all that in our body. Otherwise, we will not be able to perform those activities. So these are some of the, you know, facts which normally we do not examine in our system. Now, before I proceed to the consciousness, which is a different subject, and I will deal with that in the next session, we must understand pranic energy, because pranic energy should not be confused with consciousness. Very often we equate the two. Now, pranic energy has been explained in great detail in Prasnopnishad. They say that this energy actually originates or comes into our system through sun rays, through the sun. The sun provides that energy which enables us to digest our food, to make our body function, all the body's functions. Now there are five pranas in the body. Again, five, the number five. The first prana is the mukhya prana, that is the main pranic thing where we do the breathing from in and out. That breathing system is the main prana. The breathing, we take oxygen inside, but it is not only the air, it's also the sunlight mixes with the air, with the atmosphere, and that also goes into our body system, and that is actually activating the pranic energy in the body. So the first is mukhya pran. The second is saman pran. Saman pran is between our chin and our navel area. Now saman pran's function is basically to take the food inside, to enable us to speak, to digest the food. The entire digestive system is operational because of saman pran. Saman pran gives you uh, all that energy which enables you to break the food into different elements. Then the third pranic thing is apan pran. Apan pran is between the navel and our anus area, and this is enabling us to discard all the waste, the stool and urine which we discard. It is the function which is done by apan pran. Apan pran is the one which enables us. Apan pran is also the activator of our sexual activities. It gives energy to the sexual organs and makes them active. So, so apan pran, which is in existence between navel and our anus area, is closely connected with all the waste we discard and the sexual functions we perform. Then the fourth prana is Vyan Pran. Now, Vyan Pran is spread over the entire body. Vyan also means spreading everywhere, that it exists everywhere. Now, this actually originates from the heart. According to Prasnopnishad, there are 101 nadis. They originate from our heart. One nadi goes upwards and remaining 100 gets divided into 100 each. So that becomes 10,000. Now 10,000 each is further divided into 72,000 each. So you can calculate the number of nadis which are going through our body in different organs. For example, even there's a small little finger here. It has chetana, it has consciousness. It has consciousness because of these nadi system which we have in the body. If this particular part of the body is not sensational on a particular time, it means that nadi which is coming to this part of the body is not functioning properly. You find some people lose, sensation in some parts of the body. That happens because the nadis which are supposed to be functioning in that part of the body are not functioning properly. and therefore the consciousness does not percolate through the nadis into that part of the body. So these nadis, which are all over the body, in every single particle of the body, they provide pranic energy, they provide sensation, and they actually are instrumental in circulating our consciousness into every cell of the body. So this is the fourth prana. So we had Mukhya Pran, we had Saman Pran, we had Apan Pran, and we had Vyan Pran. Now there's a fifth prana which is called Udan Pran. Now Udan Pran's function is primarily when at the time of death, it takes away the Suksham Sarir, that is a sense of our sense organs and our mind and intellect, and it goes away with our consciousness, with our soul. And then it becomes the seed for the next birth. So Udan Pran is basically in the upper part of the body, and its main function is to take away the Suksham Sarira at the end of our life. So this is how the pranic energy works. Now, pranic energy is actually activating the consciousness into the entire body. The Jeev, which is the source of life, that Jeev spreads its consciousness, its Chaitanya, through this energy system in our body. And that is how it is called pranic energy. And when we say sometimes this, iske pran chale gaye, means the person has died, it means basically that the pranic system is not operating anymore, and therefore the consciousness of the body is not functional. The consciousness is also not functional when sometimes people get into coma, because the pranic functions become paralyzed that time. And in coma, the consciousness remains non-manifest form. It remains there in the body, but not manifested properly into the entire body. So pranic system is responsible for uh, all the major functions we perform in the body, and also taking the consciousness to every single particle of the body. So this is what this system is important about. Now we should also understand, because today I'm not going into the consciousness part. We will have a separate session next week on that. But today I'm only elaborating on the constitution of the body and the pranic energy. Now, here the number 5 is extremely important. You know, the science of creation is the most magnificent science. If this science was not a perfect science, the world would have collapsed, the universe would have collapsed any time. Stars would have collided, our body functions would not have worked, everything would have collapsed. So, this 5 is very important in this process of what you call universal uh, consciousness, or the functioning of the universe. In our finger, we have 5 fingers in our hand. Why don't we have 6? In our feet, we have 5 toes. Why don't we have 6? The reason is that this is a scientific process. We have 5 gross elements in the nature, that is Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, and Prithvi. These 5 gross elements are linked with our 5 senses of perception and 5 senses of action. We discussed that earlier, but briefly, the Akash element is linked with our sense of hearing. The Vayu element is linked with our sense of touch. The Agni element is linked with our sense of sight. The water element is linked with our sense of taste. And the earth element is linked with the sense of smell. Similarly, they are also linked with the five motor organs, like the element of Akash is linked with our hands, the element of Vayu is linked with our uh, mm, actually the element of Akash is linked with our speech. The element of Vayu is linked with our hands. The element of Agni is linked with our, uh, you know, stool discharge system. And the element of water is linked with our urine discharge system. And the element of earth is linked with our feet. So this is how all the elements are linked with our body. And that is why the figure of five, and that is why we have five pranic energies, which are also, contribution of the sun energy. So this is a science of our body mind complex, or the science of our physical existence. But this physical existence will not actually operate, or will not even come into existence without the consciousness. Often it is asked, when does a person acquire Atma or consciousness? Actually, without acquisition of consciousness, the conception cannot happen. Because in all the living being, the body grows from inside. Like in a car, you add the, boot, and you add the door, and you add the engine. We are adding everything from outside. In body, we do not add our hands, we do not add our feet, we do not add our, intestine, we do not add our eyes. They grow from inside. So all those things which are conscious and which have, uh, you know, what you call jivan, or which have jeev inside, they actually grow from inside. And that growth comes because of the consciousness. If all the organs which arise in the state of pregnancy of the mother, you, the doctor will tell you, okay, now we can see his eyes, we can see his hands, we can, see his nostrils now. Different organs arise. How do they arise? They arise because of the consciousness. The consciousness mixed with the nature, mixed with the five gross elements which constitute our body, they give rise to this constitution of the body, which ultimately becomes not only human body, but all other bodies of all species of life have the similar process. So this is how the body system works. This is how our consciousness is integrated, and it is confined to the body. That is what they say, that the infinite consciousness is converted into a finite consciousness because of this body mind complex. The body mind complex keeps this chaitanya confined to the body. So every body has its own chaitanya. Like you construct a wall of your house, so now house has a wall in the akash. While akash is infinite, it is not affected whether you construct a wall or not. But once you construct a wall, you can call that this is my house. Or inside the house also, you can construct a wall and say this is my toilet or this is my bedroom. So this is the division which universe or the supreme power has done of different bodies in this universal consciousness. Universal consciousness is an existence like Akash everywhere, but then it is divided and subdivided into different body parts, into different bodies, and remain confined to those bodies. That is how the whole system operates. Different manifestation of the different bodies have come into being because of this process of consciousness distributing itself to different bodies in a particular way. So, this is how our system operates. This is how the physical system operates. And once again, to repeat, these uh, five elements of gross nature are closely connected with our body system, with our sense organs, with our motor organs, and with our body system. And that is why we say that nature and all living beings are closely connected. And the modern concept of exploiting nature is actually destructive because you are exploiting yourself in the process, because you are closely linked with the nature through this entire scientific process of creation which has come into existence. So this is where I will end today. Uh, we will have next session on consciousness, how consciousness comes into being, how we understand that consciousness. Can we understand that consciousness? That question is a very profound, different question. But consciousness is integrated with our body system. It operates through the pranic energy into the body. It gives power to every organ of the body. It is the eye of the eyes, it is the ear of the ear, it is the nostril of the nostril. That is what Keno Upanishad also say, that without that consciousness, a body system cannot operate. It will get disintegrated even for a few moments. If you take the consciousness out of the body, it will get disintegrated. The body will be disintegrated. It will not even remain in the same state for a few seconds. So this integration provides the existence, and that integration comes through the consciousness, which keeps our human constitution, human body together in this functional form. So thank you very much.